program that thrives on its traditions. 11 NCAA tournament trips, 14 Southern Conference titles, and a rematch of last year's championship game. Glad you're with us here from Asheville. Here's Dukes on the inside now, trying to work her way around Dewart, and it's an early foul on Dewart.
And that will be something that Chattanooga will have to be wary of. Yesterday, in the semifinal game, Davidson went to the free throw line, had 30 attempts, and that's attacking the basket. Dewart, in particular, Faith Dupree, another big for Chattanooga, they do have a tendency to get in a little bit of foul trouble, and that could be a neutralizing factor if Davidson can put them on the bench.
There is depth for the Lady Mocs, but if you didn't join us yesterday for their semifinal win, they can run in different lineups. One more of a defensive-looking unit out there. So without Dupree, or when Dupree comes in, it's a little bit of a different team than when Dewart's on the floor. Here is Dewart. This is one of the reasons why she's so effective. She's got that range.
And Ashlyn Dewart has been able to create more versatility in her game under Jim Foster this year.
Laura Murray starts off hot. Davidson, career leader in threes, tacks on another.
Talked about the exhaustion level of this Davidson team. Only 8 players healthy. And you're going to see Laura Murray, if not in 39-plus minutes, at least close to it.
Yesterday, she was gassed. She was less than 50% from the line. That was a good indication she had nothing left in the tank. But she secures the rebound. Check it, it's Erickson who does.
We talked about the need and the keys for Davidson to rebound well. So far, one and done on both trips for Chattanooga.
Chance to run, though. Taylor Hall will pull up just inside of the free throw line. And another one and done. It's important for Davidson to continue this good start. Here's Laura Murray. Yesterday, the Lady Mocs jumped on Elon. They led it by 20 early on and won it by 30. Dewart now steps into a deep 2 and gets the Lady Mocs on the board.
Both teams pushing tempo at this point in the ball game. Kind of that first 5 minutes of explosive energy when the excitement of being in the finals, and then they'll settle into a more traditional pattern, I believe, a traditional rhythm of half-court game.
Top 2 scoring teams in the Southern Conference. Davidson actually a higher scoring team. One of the reasons is early, but she hasn't gotten on track in this tournament.
No, she was stifled in their first game against Sanford yesterday. Started out hot with her first 3 buckets behind the arc. In fact, first 3 for Davidson, but since then, very quiet.
Here's one of the Lady Mocs seniors, Alex Black, working in on McCabe and lost it. Last touch by the Wildcats, 8 on the shot clock. Here's Chelsea Schumpert, the freshman. Cut off by Erickson, so it's Taylor Hall late in the shot clock, burying the 3.
When the clock's running down, get it to your team's leading scorer as well as the player of the year in the conference. She's going to do some good things with it.
Early 3s for the 2 leading scorers, Laura Murray and Taylor Hall. Now Dukes goes baseline around Dewart.
Dakota Dukes has her versatility as well. We've seen that she is a tremendous scorer inside, great on the free throw line. If she gets fouled, she's automatic. And they're putting the ball on the floor to go around Ashlyn Dewart.
Taylor Hall now got a knee into the stomach of Erickson, and it is out of bounds off of the Lady Mocs.
It's good rotation from Schumpert to Taylor Hall with the easy 3, and then a nice dribble drive against Ashlyn Dewart by Hannah Early.
Murray crossed up Schumpert. She hit her first 3, has missed a couple of baskets since. In the championship game last year, Davidson gave the Lady Mocs everything they could handle. And then it was the Lady Mocs that won it at the buzzer. Beat them 64-63.
You couldn't have written up any more drama in that game. unless this one matches it.
Taylor Hall has 5 points. Very similar cast of characters for the Lady Mocs. Big difference for Davidson. There's no Sophia Alexandrovagis on this team. Dewart down to the deck. Same with McCabe. And it'll be the Lady Mocs ball. Good start, good pace to the game. And it's Taylor Hall with 5 of the first 7 for the Lady Mocs, who lead it by 1. This is the 3rd time in the Lady Mocs history that they have gone undefeated in a Southern Conference regular season. They are also undefeated in the title game in the Southern Conference tournament. That is a number they shy away from talking about in fear of jinxing it, yet amazingly impressive.
And we talked about business as usual under Jim Foster's first year at Chattanooga. There certainly has not been any let up, just a different formula to the success package.
Alex Black rattles one home. Lady Mocs started 0 for 3. They've only missed 1 shot since. Inside, Dukes takes the shovel pass and finishes. She's got a couple of baskets.
Great hands by Dukes. That was a tough pass in traffic to get a hold of and then finish.
Dukes, an all-conference performer, starting off strong on the inside against Dewart, which is something Elon could not do yesterday. It was one of the reasons why they got blown out of the gym. Now it's the freshman Shumpert who's got the answer.
And that's the reason that Chattanooga is so hard to beat. They have more than one weapon, more than just Taylor Hall. And when they have those younger players getting involved, it spells almost instant success.
When those younger players started to develop very early in the season, mind you, they've won 24 straight. That's the point in time in which they hadn't lost again.
And the change came as Shumpert diving down to the basket. Change came in that tournament in Hawaii when Jim Foster decided he was going to mix up the lineup a little bit, rattle some cages, and since then, it hasn't changed much. It's been a lot of wins with this familiar lineup.
Laura Murray with Gilbert closing out. Long rebound out to Erickson, who circles back to the basket. She's fouled by Shumpert. While there's depth for the Lady Mocs, it is the opposite story for Davidson. They have only played 8 players all year. They've only got 8 available.
Their players play a lot of minutes. Certainly, if you're playing for Davidson, can't worry about playing time. It's one of those things that nobody is complaining about. It's their lack of minutes on the floor.
Into the lane again, Dukes working around Dupree this time. It's tipped down to McCabe, so it's Erickson. This is the 4th try on this trip, and Laura Murray takes advantage of it.
Well, how about Laura Murray from the offside? weaving through traffic to get that last rebound. And that's part of that mentality of there is no quit in her game.
Laura Murray closing in on the all-time scoring record at Davidson. Black sizing up McCabe. Elects to dribble to her right and bury another one from the free throw line. Right about the same spot she hit her last shot.
Alex Black, when called upon to do scoring, is very successful.
Payne picks the pocket of Erickson, who stayed down for quite some time, only just now getting to her feet.
Quickly a sub coming in for Erickson. She's been battled hard. Seen her hit the deck a couple times, and yesterday's ball game slow to get up. This time holding the back of her head.
That'd be a huge loss for Davidson. Again, we've touched on they only play 8. This is their starting point guard. She did get up under her own power and walk off.
She's rubbing that spot on the back of her head. And she perhaps got her bell rung a little bit. The way she's kind of closing her eyes, holding that, working to regain focus.
Tatiana Jackson fouls Murray here in the backcourt. The replacement for Erickson is the freshman, Alexandra Long. But what's interesting now is that it's Laura Murray who will have to handle more responsibilities.
It's tough when you're the point guard, leading scorer, leading defender. And Laura Murray's gonna have to exert even more energy to make things happen.
One dribble for Early, that's a deep 2. Her toe was on the line, but maybe that gets her on track.
Hannah Early needed that, needed to hit a bucket. The shot fake and jumper off the move is not really one of her strengths. She obviously does it well, but her real strength is when she's behind the arc and given time.
Alex Black now. Again, that free throw line jumper, favorite spot for her.
That's 3 in a row for Black. Each shot she's taken, she's put up from about the same spot, and she's found a favorite location.
Murray missed it. Offensive chance there. 2 Wildcats collided. It's Jackson on the run out. Going right into Long with the left hand.
You can still see that this pace is quick. And that may favor Chattanooga. I don't know that Davidson can continue on a running game with the depth on the bench of the Lady Mocs.
Davidson had to exert a lot of energy yesterday to beat Western Carolina. Here's a leaner for Murray, who bounces one home, and Laura Murray's got 7.
Whenever Davidson needs a bucket, you're going to see that ball in the hands of Laura Murray more often than not.
Tennessee transfer Faith Dupree. The Lady Mocs have hit 9 of their first 14.
This pace today for the Lady Mocs even is a lot faster than we saw in their semifinal game. They were very methodical yesterday, and credit Davidson for really creating this tempo.
Last touch by the Lady Mocs. 11:05 to play. Chattanooga hitting 64% from the floor. 7 different players have scored.
We shall achieve. At the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, we are guided by a philosophy passed down over generations. We shall achieve, a bold commitment that tells the world what to expect from our campus. Faculty scholars on the cutting edge of new knowledge, students winning in the classroom and on the playing fields, and alumni at the top of their careers. At UT Chattanooga, we achieve, and so will you.
19 men's and women's sports, 20 Rhodes Scholars, 11 prestigious academic institutions, an APR of 982, 5th in the nation, 8 FCS national championships, established the first conference basketball tournament, home to iconic sports figures. This is the nation's 5th oldest conference, the Southern Conference. The 2014 SoCon Softball Championship, May 7th through the 10th. Come support your favorite team on the campus of UNCG in Greensboro, North Carolina. Catch the first round through the semifinals live for free on SoCon TV. Saturday's championship game will be aired live on ESPN3. Follow all of the action on Twitter using hashtag SoConSB.
Welcome back to the U.S. Cellular Center. Robin Muller and Darren Goldwater. Fortunately for the Wildcats, they are only down by 5 after hitting 6 of 16 and watching the Lady Mocs start this breakneck pace.
But they have done a lot of good work on the boards. 4 offensive boards has translated into some of those 14 points. And that's fairly surprising that Chattanooga would give up 4 offensive rebounds.
Hannah Early missed it on the inside. Shanika Center kept it alive. So the 5th offensive rebound doesn't net him any points. Shannon Erickson remains on Davidson's bench after taking the spill on the steal from Alicia Payne. Here's Black now. She hit a couple from the free throw line, missed the running layup.
Laura Murray was assigned to Alex Black at that point in time. Not a bad matchup, as Murray has the ability to halt up some of the scoring prowess of Alex Black. And the question is, who gets to defend Taylor Hall?
Duke switches out on her. So Faith Dupree will take the jump shot. Davidson is watching a Lady Mocs team that has won 24 in a row, and they are seemingly here on a mission.
They have definitely elevated their play today, the Lady Mocs have. Faith Dupree showing her versatility as a post player, loves a face-up shot, and has great range as well.
Entry pass deflected by Hall. It's taken away by Jackson. So here's Payne. Sophomore patiently backed it out. Gives it off to Faith Dupree. Another one goes down. They've hit 8 of their last 9 shots.
Think about it, Darren. You're usually talking about Taylor Hall, Ashlyn Dewart, who's are doing the most of the scoring. Here we have Alex Black, who hit 3 in a row. Now Faith Dupree hits 3 in a row.
Offensive foul on Murray.
When you can bring somebody like Faith Dupree in off the bench, shows her range, extends the defense, forcing that help side that Davidson likes to step back further from the basket. It's just opening things up more and more to the interior.
Redshirt senior out of Knoxville, started her career in Knoxville with the Lady Vols. And with her on the bench, Lady Mocs show their depth. Now they come with a freshman with the longest wingspan on the team, Joyner. Here's Payne now. Meanwhile, Shannon Erickson has checked back into the game for the Wildcats. Here she is.
Laura Murray taking an unheard of break on the bench.
Slapped free. Dukes fights for it. It'll stay on this end of the floor. As much as the Wildcats need Laura Murray on the floor, they also need to give her a couple of breaks, especially at this pace.
Yeah, longevity through this game is going to be important for Davidson, especially to be able to keep Laura Murray on the floor.
It's a 5-second violation. There's no telling whether or not the Lady Mocs definitely need to win this game to make the NCAA tournament. And that's saying something for a mid-major league. But they are currently 47th in the RPI. They are receiving votes in the AP poll. And if you were to rank them, they'd be ranked number 27, only actually 4 votes shy of 25th. And they're 28-3.
Yeah, even if they did not win this ball game, I think that they would definitely be heavily discussed in the tournament bracketing room.
Knocked away and out of bounds. It'll stay with the Wildcats. The winning streak for the Lady Mocs right now is tied for the 3rd longest in their program's history. Here's McCabe right in front of Jim Foster on the UTC bench. Down to the floor goes Towns. And a foul on Shanika Center.
Davidson's going to need to have some of their bench players become scorers in this ball game. You've got Early and Murray on the bench. They're only one of the big 3 in the ball game right now is Dakota Dukes, and she's generally a receiver. You've got to get her the ball, but in a position to score.
Davidson has switched to the zone, 2nd possession that they're in it.
Yesterday, when they switched their defenses, that created some success and allowed them to create some offensive spread.
Offensive rebound, kick out to Downs at the shot clock buzzer.
Megan Downs, another prolific 3-point scorer. That is certainly her wheelhouse.
She hit a couple of them down the stretch yesterday.
Exclamation mark 3s yesterday.
Joyner fouled Shanika Center with 7:28 here on the first half clock. So it'll be the senior off the bench, Shanika Center, at the line when we bring you back to the US Cellular Center. The lead's as big as it's been all day. Thanks to the offensive rebound and the kick out, the senior Downs getting into the act. We've talked at length about the depth for the Lady Mocs. 11 players have played, 7 have scored for Jim Foster. And Shanika Center will now try to be the first Wildcat off the bench to get into the scoring column.
Get almost half of your points from the bench, as Chattanooga has, you're spelling disaster for your opponent. We haven't even really seen the explosiveness of Hall yet. Ashlyn Dewart's been on the bench for a period of time. They aren't being called upon to do significant scoring. They don't have to.
That's been the story for the Lady Mocs this year. They only have 2 players that average in double figures. And only down the stretch did Dewart get into double figures for her season average. They just share the wealth. Blocked right back down to Towns. Shot clock doesn't reset. Towns tries from the outside this time. 3's better than 2.
She'll take it.
And the other story, not only do they share the wealth, a lot of them can hit the 3. 6th turnover for the Wildcats.
On the stick back. Just swinging it around. That was a revisit from previously, Megan Downs, but it exemplifies how well this team moves the ball, shares the ball, and how well they shoot from behind the arc.
Erickson draws the assignment of Taylor Hall here. Fouls her on the floor. These teams played twice in the regular season. Lady Mocs obviously swept it, but in the first game at McKenzie Arena, the Lady Mocs had a 15-point lead. They lost it. The game ended up tied at 58 with 2 minutes to play before the Lady Mocs pulled away, and then they won it easily in the second matchup. Jasmine Joyner now, more of a defensive specialist.
Well, and just because Davidson has gotten out of the block slowly, you can't count them out. When the big three, who are all on the floor, start to get hot, they can turn the tide in a hurry.
It's the 5th foul on the Lady Mocs. That's one way Davidson can chip away, if they can penetrate, draw some fouls, and earn a couple of trips to the line. Dukes finds herself open, sliding down the lane. A consistent threat early. She has 7.
And as I mentioned, 30 attempts yesterday from the free throw line. When they can get into attack mode, they'll convert a lot of those. Davidson plays very sagging, both in their zone and their man-to-man, so it's deceptive to read which they are actually in.
Here's Early. Hall went for the steal, so Early blows by her. And the foul committed by the Lady Mocs. Second on the starting freshman Schumpert. Murray now has Gilbert on her. Quick pull-up, a little bit strong. Dukes down to the deck without corralling the rebound. Still fighting for it, though. It'll be the ball of the Lady Mocs.
Wow. That was just an all-out scramble. But that's twice now we've seen Ashlyn Dewart getting onto the floor for the loose ball. Her game has changed significantly under Jim Foster. I feel like she plays with a little more abandon, allowing her to be freer and consequently much more aggressive.
Much more of a threat. Cutting is Gilbert. That's turned away.
Either Dukes or Early got a piece of that. You don't often see a block out on Gilbert.
They were both right there on her. Now a little bit of offensive confusion. Wildcats have 2 players in the same area. Eventually Erickson takes it and then hits the runner on the baseline.
Chattanooga's still on the run. They want to push. They want to use fatigue as part of their offensive weaponry.
Towns, this one clearly blocked away by Early, and we got an offensive foul.
Erickson once again taking the hit. I like how gritty that point guard is. Not only a block from behind, but Erickson holding her ground. Taking yet another one.
Yesterday, Davidson had a large lead on Western Carolina. Catamounts came storming back with a 15-0 run, took the lead, and then Davidson fought tooth and nail down the stretch to get into this championship. Towns can't bring it in. Another offensive rebound for the Wildcats. Early steps into a 3. And a jump ball stays on this end.
Ashlyn Dewart holding her left leg, ankle, perhaps. Looks like she tweaked it a little bit, or a calf, or maybe a calf cramp. She came down in a little bit of pain, trying to rub it out.
She's having a lot of trouble putting pressure on that leg.
They may get a sub in for her.
It's a big break for the Lady Mocs. She stays on the floor. She can barely move.
Yeah,
and Davidson turned it over on the possession.
It's cramping up. You see it kind of grabbing her. Get that stretched out, get a few more fluids in her. You certainly can't negate the fact that Chattanooga's had a lot of games as well. I mean, it's not easy to play 3 in a row.
Here's Faith Dupree again. Seems to be pretty comfortable with that mid-range jumper. Back inside to Dukes. Works around Dupree, draws the foul. 3:38 to go. Dukes heading to the line. She had 8 of her 18 points at the line yesterday. And the sophomore All-Southern Conference performer will have a chance to get Davidson within single figures of Jim Foster's mocks. First half action, SoCon Championship from the U.S. Cellular Center.
The 2014 SoCon Men's Golf Championship. Southern Conference golfers will take on Pinehurst at the National Golf Club in Pinehurst, North Carolina, April 20th through the 22nd. Get all of the live updates on Twitter using hashtag SoConMGolf. Don't miss the championship action. This is SoCon Men's Golf.
Huh. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Yep, everybody knows that.
Well, did you know that some owls aren't that wise?
Don't forget I'm having brunch with Megan tomorrow.
Who?
Megan, my coworker.
Who?
Seriously, you've met her like 3 times.
Who?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you, well, you know.
It's a 10-point lead for the Lady Mocs, who have led by as much as 14. As Davidson tries to exact revenge on last year's loss in this championship game. They wanted this rematch. They've gotten the rematch. But as good as the Lady Mocs were last year, only 1 loss in the conference last year. This is an even more dangerous Chattanooga team. So here's Duke. She has tied for a game high and team high 7. But the big 3 have been only 2 here in the first half. Hannah Early has just 2 points on 1 of 7 shooting for Davidson.
And Hannah Early struggling to find a rhythm. Part of that is the defensive pressure of Chattanooga. Part of it is she's rushing her shots. She's shooting off balance.
Last time Chattanooga lost, it was November 30th. Last time they lost a conference game, or at least to a conference opponent, it was January of last year. Inside 10 to shoot. Alex Black now with the runner.
Alex Black has stepped up big early in this ball game. She has scored at will anytime she's had the ball.
She has 9 points today, 8. She had 7 in the first 2 games combined in this tournament. Duke's never felt Taylor Hall coming.
Taylor Hall hasn't had to do any scoring, but she gets it done with the assist.
She gets it done every which way. Taylor Hall is top 5 in the league in scoring, rebounding, assists, and steals. Leads back out to 33. Dukes walked with it.
Davidson still trying to work the 2-man game on the inside. Can't get comfortable. And Taylor Hall, just the lofted pass over the top. You gotta love it when your post players will run the floor, catch in stride, shoot on the run.
And now Dupree has 8 points. You just never know who's going to be the one to shoulder the scoring load for the Lady Mocs. It could be any of them on any given day.
And that's what makes them such a tough scout. Very few players that you can actually let go, not defend up close.
Dupree feeling it. Long rebound down to Dukes. Hall went for another steal. Alicia Payne picked up Murray, so there wasn't an angle. McCabe lost it. Able to regain. Pretty disjointed possession. Another offensive rebound. And Taylor Hall cleans it up this time. Up ahead to Black. Nice move from Alex Black. Offensive board, Jackson. It stays on this end.
Black going strong to the basket. May have had a little bit of contact sliding into the standard, but Chattanooga retaining possession. It's been all Chattanooga early in this ball game.
Don't see Taylor Hall force too many shots.
No, an odd possession for Chattanooga that time. Taylor Hall with a lot of time on the shot clock, taking one to the basket.
That's another offensive rebound for Davidson. They just haven't been able to convert them. That's the 10th offensive rebound. To this point, though, they only have 2 second chance points.
Well, and that's the most positive stat of Davidson's whole stat line is the offensive boards. They've got to start translating that into baskets.
Davidson has gone the last 10.5 minutes without a point from their leading scorer, Laura Murray. They have continued to try to get it into Dukes. Back to the zone now for the Wildcats. And the reverse from Hall doesn't draw in. Inside of 60 seconds to go. Nice recovery there by Dukes.
Tough pass to handle. Dukes had all she could do not to travel with it the first time. This time called for it again. She's taking that step before she put the ball on the floor. Davidson still pushing tempo when they have the opportunity to get out and run.
Joyner now, blocked by Dukes. A little bit of Joyner's own medicine. They can get a 2-for-1 here if they took a quick shot. Probably not going to get one here. Nice find down to Jackson. Alex Black tacks on an assist to her line.
Sneaking in behind that zone defense. Great vision by Black.
Senior on senior. Second leading scorer in Davidson history. Here's Laura Murray fading away. And Alicia Payne with one. It's Alex Black. The Lady Mocs put 8 players in the scoring column, 8 apiece from Black and Dupree. They shoot over 40% in the first half. And in search of back-to-back trips to the NCAA tournament and their 15th Southern Conference tournament title, Team of Destiny this year. They've got 20 minutes left to finish that off and make their 12th NCAA tournament appearance. Change to the starting 5 for the Lady Mocs here. Faith Dupree starts in place of Ashlyn Dewart, who we haven't seen since she went out clutching her left leg. And a turnover on the first possession, only the 3rd of the day for the Lady Mocs.
In fact, I don't see Ashlyn Dewart even on the bench. I think she's behind the bench, still working on that cramp in that calf muscle.
Freshman Gilbert tries to slow down Murray and has to foul her to do so. Catch and shoot for Murray. That's kind of how she started the first half. She's 6 points away now from becoming the all-time leading scorer at Davidson.
Laura Murray isn't quite ready to have her career end. You can tell that she's going to do everything possible. They've sagged way off of Gilbert, giving her long-range shots. They're going to clog up the interior if they can.
Gilbert's probably the one player out there for the Lady Mocs right now that isn't necessarily a shooting threat. She sags to the basket. They try and hit her, but it's a turnover. And Erickson for the Wildcats is down again and very slow to get up.
She's
wobbly.
Visibly wobbly. It's the second time she's hit the deck hard. A collision.
Oh.
Collision off the screen. Faith Dupree. And she definitely has had her bell rung on this exchange.
Nothing illegal about it, but hard.
Take another look at it. And that's where your post players got to call out the screen. You've got to let your guards know it's there.
Dukes controls the offensive rebound, hits the deck. No foul, and a timeout on the Davidson bench. Tense moments for the Wildcats. Not only are they down by 2, but one of their guards and one of the 8 who plays for them in pretty rough shape. 18:30 to go. Taking over for Wes Moore on the Lady Mocs bench this year, Jim Foster, Hall of Fame inductee, one of 8 to take 3 different teams to the NCAA tournament. Took St. Joe's, Vanderbilt, Ohio State. Now trying to take the Lady Mocs.
And what an incredible feat to be the first and only to have taken 4 teams, should that happen.
Vivian Stringer was on that list. She's the only other coach that has won more than 200 games at 3 different stops other than Foster. Nice hustle there by Murray. And then a foul after Murray wrestled it away.
Murray still scrapping. Feel like there's a renewed energy on this Davidson team coming out in the second half. A lot more fight than we saw in the waning minutes of the first half.
Here's Laura Murray now fading away around Tatiana Jackson. We should let you know during that timeout, Shannon Erickson was taken back into the locker room for the Wildcats after getting hit on that hard screen from Dupree. So Davidson now down to 7 available players unless they choose to go with a freshman who has yet to play all year. Alex Black, that's a pretty jumper. She's into double figures.
Just a little shake and bake by Alex Black. Didn't really go anywhere, but enough ball movement with the crossover to create space to get the shot off.
And now Dukes commits the unforced turnover.
Just using a little screen, but enough space created against Hannah early. Put up the shot. And then early, seeing a pass go sailing out of bounds. Wasn't sure it was for her and let it go.
Faith Dupree wanted it in there on early. Slides down to the baseline, circles it through. It matches the largest lead of the game.
Faith Dupree with that fadeaway. So difficult to defend when she gets in her rhythm. Fading, shooting off the back foot.
Back-to-back turnovers now.
Yet another traveling call. We've seen 3 or 4 against the Wildcats today. Not sure we had seen any in the previous matchups.
Chattanooga's won 24 straight games. Alex Black rims one out. That's tied for the 3rd longest winning streak in their history. Now Black knocks one out of bounds, so it stays on this end. Chattanooga arrived in this championship by dismantling Elon. Jumped on them by 20 in the early stages of the game, won it by more than 30. And they are doing what the Davidson men could not do. They were the heavy favorites on the men's side, yet they were upset yesterday in a wild overtime game. Western Carolina knocked them off. Needed basket there from Dukes.
Nice move by Dukes. And remember, Dakota Dukes is just a sophomore. She has played exceptionally well throughout this season, taking over for the Player of the Year last year, Sophia Alexandrovicus, and has really anchored the interior of this Davidson team.
Bounce pass to center is taken away. That's an unforced error from Laura Murray. Here comes Black, and it's a trip to the free throw line for the senior Alex Black.
You can see there's a level of frustration on this Davidson team. Laura Murray frustrated with that last turnover.
They wanted the rematch with the Lady Mocs. They're getting it, and they're getting maybe more than they can handle.
This is Davidson. Here, you'll get to know your professors. You'll make friends for life. You'll compete and excel in Division I sports. You'll be held to the highest standards of honor and integrity. And your need-based financial aid will include grants and employment, but not loan. Honor, excellence, opportunity. This is Davidson.
The 2014 SoCon Tennis Championships, April 16th through the 19th. Hosted by Chattanooga at the Champions Club in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Follow all of the action on Twitter using hashtag SoConTennis. Come see your favorite team in action as they compete for the championship. This is SoCon Tennis.
License and registration, please. What's this?
It's my Geico Insurance ID card, sir. It's digital. Pretty cool, right?
Maybe. You know why I pulled you over today?
Because I'm a pig driving a convertible.
Tail lights out. Fix it.
Digital insurance ID cards. Just a click away with the Geico mobile app.
Very little coaching went on in the Davidson huddle during this timeout. Michelle Savage said 1 or 2 things, and then other than that, Laura Murray is the one who had her teammates circled around her with some words for the Wildcats, who trail by 12, still with plenty of time remaining.
And Laura Murray was the one frustrated on that last turnover that we're seeing the results of with Alex Black at the free throw line. And frustration and just almost what felt like some of the players for Davidson maybe playing like, well, there's nothing we can do. And I believe the senior Laura Murray isn't going to allow that to happen.
Offensive rebound from Jackson. Murray was eyeing that ball from Alex Black, who got it off just before she went for the swipe. Now it's Taylor Hall, first basket of the second half for Hall.
Now we've seen Taylor Hall take over a ball game in just a half, and she just is playing as about rested as I've ever seen her play. No effort in that shot.
McCabe worked right into the double team Dupree was waiting for. In Southern Conference play, the Lady Mocs won by an average of 18 points a game.
Dave Dupree really working that box. Couldn't quite make the pass in there. Tough angle. But Chattanooga getting that ball back.
They've got 7 to shoot. Taylor Hall drives in and around Dakota Dukes. Rolls it off.
A lot of times you'd think that was automatic. And Hall continuing to pressure in the backcourt.
Yeah, Wildcats need some help here. It's a 10-second violation.
All of that created by Taylor Hall, getting a little assistance, but it was her harassment of the ball handler that caused that 10-second call.
Yesterday, Taylor Hall, following the game, said that there is no let-up because nothing's guaranteed. They want to make sure this season ends with a trip to the NCAA tournament. Davidson takes the timeout. Just joining the huddle at the top of your screen, Shannon Erickson. She has rejoined the bench, but up until that point had her head in her hands after getting her bell rung early on in this half. For the Lady Mocs, Ashlyn Dewart went out in the first half clutching her left leg. She has, for the last few minutes, been stretching it in the tunnel, and the left leg is wrapped as well. You can't see that now, but they've wrapped the lower portion of her left leg. I would imagine if Chattanooga has their way, they won't have to play Dewart, and they can rest her up for what would be an NCAA tournament trip if that's the case.
Davidson with the ball back. Apparently they got that 30-second timeout before the 10-second backcourt call. The officials had a conversation about it and then awarded the ball back to the Wildcats.
Only 2 timeouts now left for Davidson. Step back for Murray. Beautiful shot. She's got 13.
That was a tough shot over tight defense. You know that Chattanooga doesn't give Laura Murray a whole lot of room, but she brings rain with that shot.
Now can they get a couple of stops on this end of the floor? Foul on center.
Giving Dakota Dukes a little break. Center in the ball game. Sophomore Dakota Dukes taking a break on the bench. And center doesn't quite have the mobility that Dukes does.
Jackson, part of the all-freshman team last year. Only hits 1 out of 2. Laura Murray came on strong in the second half yesterday, trying to duplicate that feat here today. They need her to. And a foul committed 90 feet away. I think they got early there.
And Hannah Early has been playing very frustrated today. Chattanooga has gotten inside her head a little bit. She spent a period of time on the bench after displaying a few comments that the officials gave her a warning about, and she's going to have to get back under control and be able to produce offensively in order to help her team.
Davidson's gone back to the zone. Joyner flashes in the middle. Instead, up top, the freshman Chelsea Shumpert. Great box out there by Early.
Nice box out.
Now center, working on Joyner, turns her away. That's block number 50 on the year for the freshman. Schumpert the other way, and it'll go over to Davidson.
Joyner has an amazing wingspan, number 3 for Chattanooga. The length of her arms, and she is a very thin post specimen, but has over 40 blocks. I think she's pushing 48, 49
that was
on
50.
the season. That was 50.
She had 3 of them yesterday. As a freshman, her 50 blocks this year rank her 6th on the career list at Chattanooga.
And being in the game today, I believe SID and Wehan had told me that now she will officially be able to appear in the SoCon stats, having now played 75% of the games.
And she didn't come on until Dupree was injured and they needed her in the reserve role.
She's another one that's just going to have an outstanding career at Chattanooga to build in the interior foundation for Jim Foster.
Centers basket over her though. Brings Davidson within 11. Here's Black, finds herself open. The senior who's on the all-conference team for the first time in her career is pacing everybody in this game with 13 points. Here's Long, a little bit of a hesitation. That's a kick ball. And a timeout on the floor. Chattanooga continues to keep Davidson at bay. 13-point lead for the Lady Mocs. Alex Black started to heat up at the end of the regular season. She put together 4 straight games in double figures, and she's had it again here today, one of her best career games.
And she's such a versatile player, and one that you often overlook because she's not that prolific scorer game in and game out. But look at these numbers here, 60% from the floor already in the ball game. And a lot of times it's with the clock running down, and she's created those shots.
Now Jackson gets the task of defending Laura Murray. Duke's cut off by Joyner. 3-second violation.
Davidson post players hesitant to go up against Joyner because of her shot blocking ability.
14 turnovers on the Wildcats. To this point, the Lady Mocs have been able to capitalize pretty efficiently.
Sagging in that zone is Davidson, using a lot of the shot clock, seeing it wind down again on Chattanooga.
Taylor Hall, the deep 3,
and
player of the year.
It really doesn't matter if it winds down when Taylor Hall has the ball. she just likes the drama of it.
And then she gets the rebound on the other end. Up ahead, Alex Black. Could have gotten an and one opportunity too.
Nice finish by Black, and once again set up by Taylor Hall on the pass.
Danger zone for Davidson. They have taken what is their 4th timeout.
Here with the shot clock winding down, why not? Just put it up. Defense isn't contesting. And then on the run out, off the rebound, pinpoint pass by Taylor Hall and an excellent finish by Alex Black.
Feels like Taylor Hall's been quiet today, right? 10 points, 5 boards, 4 assists.
Right. That's a quiet day at the office for Taylor Hall. And that's one of the things that I think is so great about the way she plays is that a lot of times you don't notice everything she does until you actually look at the box score and say, oh my gosh, every column is filled, with exception of the turnovers, at least she hopes.
So Davidson has to find a way to chip into this lead with 11 minutes to go and only 1 timeout left to play with.
And down to 7 players on the bench. Shannon Erickson probably will not come back into this, and Laura Murray now having to run point responsibilities.
Hard to imagine Erickson coming back in if she hasn't yet. Duke's pass deflected. Center able to track it down. Gonna get Joyner here with an arm in the back of Dukes.
A little pushing there. Joyner actually having 2 arms on Dukes, trying to displace her. Dukes holding her ground fairly well.
Here's Murray. Hall closed out, got a hand in her face. Now it's Joyner who is fouled. Three on center. Laura Murray going for the steal, trying to create something defensively, but the ball reversal creates something offensively instead. Black with a new career high of 18 points.
Now that's how you break down a zone, shifting the ball around the horn. And unless you're going to come out and defend the three-point shot all the way past the arc, Chattanooga's going to put it up.
Early wanted it. Hall stuck right with her. I think got a piece of that. And Robin, if you think that Chattanooga's going to pull the pedal back here, you don't know Chattanooga very well.
No, those of you watching at home, they aren't going to take the pressure off at all. They're going to continue to work to execute, continue to prepare for the next level, the next round.
Late in the shot clock, Taylor Hall doesn't draw the iron. Wanted the foul. We saw it yesterday in what was a 20 and 30-point game, depending on the time in the second half. It didn't matter who Jim Foster put on the floor. They were pushing the tempo, staying aggressive, and continuing to play their game.
And you and I had talked about the potential Chattanooga winning, being a 12th seed. And with the kind of depth and their ability to have multiple weapons at their disposal, they're looking for one of those early round wins. The upset from the 12th seed.
You wonder if they don't play themselves onto a better seed line. Another rejection from Joyner, right down off the floor. Towns with the left.
And that is just an epitome, a microcosm of the whole season. The bulldozer that is Chattanooga.
Davidson has just 10 second half points. Jim Foster has said it all year long. Even when they're not at their best, they pride themselves on their defense. It can carry them. Hasn't needed to carry them today. They're shooting 48% from the floor, but that defensive stand turned into a 23-point lead. Everybody getting into the act. The Lady Mocs are accustomed to being in the NCAA tournament and feeling pretty good about their chances for their 12th all-time trip. They've been paced by a career best 18 from their senior Alex Black.
And the Lady Mocs fans follow so well. They love to travel with their women's basketball team.
Trying to win back-to-back tournament championships. This a rematch of last year's game, but not a similar game. Lady Mocs won last year on a last-second basket, won it 64-63.
Well, two variables have changed. One, the graduation of last year's Player of the Year, Sofia Alexandrovicus, and two, the improved depth of this Chattanooga team that in yesterday's game saw all but one player on the team score.
And all but three who have played today have found the scoring column. Hannah Early gets the roll with the left hand. That's just 4 points for Early.
And when you're used to big three for Davidson, three consistent scorers in double figures, and in today's game just two of those getting the job done, you've lost some point production that hasn't been made up from anybody else.
Why not? Another try for Alex Black. She can hit anywhere in the gym today.
What a great way to end your career in the SoCon tournament. The senior Alex Black just having a career night.
Previous career best was 17 against Appalachian State this year. She has 21 today on 9 of 13 shooting. Piles, the Davidson freshman, gets into the act.
Piles has a good future ahead of her as a post player. She and Dakota Dukes balancing nicely when they're on the interior.
Joyner with the left, spins around center. Now Laura Murray pushes the tempo and throws one away. Put it behind center.
Nice move by Joyner. A lot of patience. Feeling the defense on the high side. Takes her one dribble in and creates more space to go baseline.
We've talked about her being known as a defensive player. That was a strong offensive move.
She had 9 points yesterday, 7 rebounds. She's going to be an anchor on the interior for the future of this Chattanooga team.
5:20 to go, 24-point lead. They've led wire to wire in the Southern Conference. They clinched the league championship with 5 games left to play in the regular season. Jim Foster will deflect all attention away from what will be an amazing accomplishment for him. Becoming the first head coach to take 4, no 4. I'll get it right eventually. 3, let's try again. First coach to take 4 different teams to the NCAA tournament. If at first you don't succeed, try again.
Right, just keep trying. And you're exactly right. He's going to deflect all the glory onto this team. And when you talk to him, he talks about how well his team shares the ball. And there's a prime example. It's as if Taylor Hall knew that we had to have that discussion point, passes it on. But they do. They share the ball well. They are not concerned with who's going to get the glory on any particular game. And you can see that in the way that they play.
Murray caught up in traffic. Dukes with Joyner flashing out at her. And Dakota Dukes has been the lone consistent for Davidson. She's got a team best 14. Chattanooga led by 13 at the break. And they've outscored Davidson by 15 here in the second half. Five on the shot clock. A bounce pass down to Joyner. Nice job by Towns, who hit a 3 on the last possession.
And you could see that the fatigue of having a very small bench, having had a couple of tough games prior to it, is starting to wear on them on the defensive end. Laura Murray still trying to get it done offensively.
That basket for Murray has tied her with Sophia Alexandrovagis for most points in Davidson history. So still a benchmark left to be cleared for Laura Murray and Davidson, capping her career as the school's all-time leading scorer. But they won't cap it with their first ever NCAA tournament trip. Jump ball, it'll be Davidson ball. 3:19 to play. The Lady Mocs are about to go 15-0 in Southern Conference Tournament Championship games.
The 2014 Southern Conference Baseball Championship, hosted by the Citadel in beautiful Charleston, South Carolina, at Joseph P. Riley Jr. Park. May 20th through the 25th. Watch free on SoCon TV at SoConSports.com. Watch the championship game live on ESPN3. Follow at SoCon Sports on Twitter for live updates and results. This is SoCon Baseball. Come see your favorite SoCon golfers in action at the 2014 Southern Conference Women's Golf Championship. Returning to Moss Creek Golf Club in beautiful Hilton Head, South Carolina. April 13th through 15th. Make sure you follow the action on Twitter using hashtag SoConWGolf. Don't miss the championship action. This is Southern Conference Women's Golf.
It's been all Lady Mocs on the floor, but there has been one great accomplishment for the senior Laura Murray for the Davidson Wildcats. 15 points today gives her now 1,878. That ties her with Sophia Alexandrovagis, most points in Davidson history.
I do like the way Laura Murray works. She has worked hard throughout her career, and we've seen her working exceptionally hard throughout this tournament. 25 points first day, 26 the second.
Baseline jumper there for Piles.
Continuing to put up very strong offensive numbers is Laura Murray.
And now Murray commits the foul here. Just the 6th on Davidson.
Number 2 for Murray, her second, team 6.
Lady Mocs are going to go into the NCAA tournament on a 25-game winning streak, the 3rd longest winning streak in their program history. And they're going to carry one of the best players into the country into that tournament. You think Taylor Hall could have a chance at the next level?
I do. I think that should she choose to play either internationally or here in the United States, perhaps going to the WNBA, that she should have some looks. She is a complete package. She's a big guard, handles the ball well, has so many weapons in terms of her scoring prowess, but it's her rebounding, her defense, steals. There's a little substitution timeout here. Not one that's going to take a lot of time. We're seeing some of the bench for Chattanooga coming in.
And some standing ovation for Taylor Hall, the league's player and defensive player of the year. Only the 2nd ever in the conference to do that. The other was Alexandrovagis. They've accomplished what they set out to do on their trip to Asheville.
Shot clock violation. Megan Down getting too deep into the defense. Couldn't get enough elevation off that shot. And what Jim Foster's doing now is just ensuring that the depth of this Chattanooga team continues to grow with game and tournament experience, clearing his bench.
Invaluable for next year. Moses Johnson and Hartledge are both on the floor for him right now. He plays Gilbert and Chelsea Shumpert a whole lot anyway. Same with Jasmine Joyner.
Kayvon Towns handling the ball, putting it behind her back.
Now foul here on Murray, that's 3. Look, you can't fault the effort from Murray. She could barely bring her hands up to her mouth yesterday, giving it everything she had. And they take her out here.
And you know that's a disappointing finish for Laura Murray. However, we're sure that it won't be the last game for Laura Murray, and that foreseeably postseason bid once again to the WNIT. There shouldn't be any reason why they should not be in that conversation, but it is frustrating to not obtain that one piece of medal, the championship here in the SoCon.
The bid in the Southern Conference to the WNIT, the auto one is going to go to Furman. But they'll be in the conversation. There's also the WBI. Davidson will take a timeout here. You wonder if they're not aware that Laura Murray is currently at 1878. Currently tied for that record.
And they may have just become aware of that, or you know, a lot of times coaches don't really work to make sure that their kids can get a record of any particular sort, but this could be a situation because this is certainly an accomplishment that merits attention.
Davidson has accomplished a lot with Laura Murray and company. They were the co-champs of the league 2 years ago. That was their first ever championship. They made it to back-to-back tournament championship games here. Just bad timing for them. They're running into a Chattanooga team that's putting together one of the more successful runs in what is an incredibly storied history already.
Chattanooga has been a buzzsaw in this conference tournament. They have met no resistance in the 3 games coming into this championship.
Whitney Hartledge is at the line for the Lady Mocs. 1:19 to play.
Taking in during timeout for the Bobcats, number 2, Laura Murray. At the line, 5, Whitney Hartledge.
Piles gets the rebound. Laura Murray is back on the floor. And it's Murray turned away by the freshman Joyner. Davidson will get another chance here. Towns was out of bounds.
And very obviously trying to get Murray that go-ahead basket to be the all-time leading scorer at Davidson.
Towns isn't going to give it to her easily. There it is. All-time leading scorer in Davidson history, Laura Murray.
That's got to feel good, despite the finish to the season here.
And now they'll take her out.
And the Davidson faithful certainly recognizing that accomplishment.
Senior from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Gave it a valiant effort, but it's going to be the Lady Mocs who will win their 15th tournament in 15 championship game appearances. A fact that just can't be overstated. It'll be their 12th trip to the NCAA tournament.
It'll be interesting to see who they will draw in that first round, and I maintain that they can give somebody some fits. They are a team that I wouldn't want to play if I were a 5th seed.
Early, they're going to get a foul here on Johnson with 31.7.
Foul number 23, Moses Johnson. Her first, team 6. At the line, number 10.
Early was never really able to get it on track here in this tournament. She had 12 points yesterday, had a little bit of a hot streak in there. She had a great year though. She'll finish the year with 63 threes, which is 4 shy of breaking the Davidson single season record. Now Downs. Davidson isn't going to foul. We'll stay on this end here. Elite company for Jim Foster. Only coach to ever take 4 different women's teams to the NCAA tournament. And he'll do it by winning his 812th game. Congratulations to Jim Foster. As the clock ticks down to 0, the Lady Mocs are the 2014 back-to-back